Hi everyone. Kozhikode interviews are known to be deep and analytical, but what really happens inside the PI? Let's find out. So today we have Yatharth with us, who appeared for the Indian Institute of Management Kozhikode PI, Real Experience, Real Questions. Hi Yatharth.
Hey, hello everyone.
So can you tell us a brief about your background and why I am Kozhikode?
I have a chemical engineering degree from BITS Pilani, graduated in 2022. So I also have 3.5 years of work ex with Standard Chartered Bank as a backend software developer. Along with this, I also have a finance internship with Deutsche Bank for a counterparty credit analyst rating. And I also did an internship with Kansai Nerolac Paints.
Okay, so what was your first reaction after getting the IMK interview call?
I mean, it wasn't really surprising. I believe that I had a decent percentile. I had a 99.95. And given my profile, I knew that I'll be getting all the IM calls. So it wasn't really that much of a surprise, I would say.
That's really nice. So how did you prepare for IIM Kozhikode PI?
I would say the process of preparing for PI is generally common across all the interviews. Maybe I will have to prepare something special for the ABC interviews, but apart from that, generally general strategy is if even if you have work ex, try to prepare your acads to some extent, get a couple of favorite subjects, try to go deep into them, know your projects, then know your work ex and what you're doing and what impact it's creating on the team. And I think the major reason with work ex people is why do they want to do an MBA? Why do they want to pivot in their lives? So I think that question is the major answer you have to prepare. And along with that, if you have a lot more work ex, then you also have to prepare that why now? Why do you think it is now is the perfect time? And what is the opportunity cost of doing an MBA right now versus years ago or later, maybe?
So how was your panel and overall vibe of the PI?
I would say my panel, I think there were around 12 people in my panel as well. And I think Kozhikode interview calls a lot of girls. Like even in the panel, they were, I would say when we were sitting in the for the interview for the VAT session as well, there were around 50 people and maybe 10 were guys. And in my panel, I was the only guy. But the panelists were, I think one was a female lady and she was also prof and another was a male prof. My interview was towards the end. I was probably the third last interview, and I say that at that time they were trying to wrap things up quickly. So my interview went very short. It was just about 6 or 7 minutes. But before that, they were trying to grill a lot of people, and I would say the people with more diverse background than engineering are probably grilled a lot more on their why MBA and the maths and stats, and if they can handle the pressure of a MBA as a whole. So,
What type of questions really dominated since you mentioned it's 6 minutes? So are there any specific questions that they asked related to your academics or your current affairs or your work ex?
Sure. So the female prof started with, "Oh, that you graduated from BITS Pilani." I said yes. Then this was standard YMB question. I mentioned that my responsibilities are siloing in the tech field, and even if I continue progressing in tech, I know that as a tech manager, the most of the responsibilities will still be tech related. Whereas I want to develop a holistical profile and see more into strategy and why and how of the product matters more to me now as compared to just the tech aspect. Also, given the advent of AI, I do not feel that my job is very safe as well. So that was it. Then she asked me what sort of roles am I targeting post an MBA. So I told them that I would still like to be connected to the technological sector if possible. So somewhere where I can practically implement whatever I learn in an MBA combined with my technical skills. So I usually say that I target broadman role or technical consulting roles. After that, he asked me, "What do you think about the socio-economic conditions of India?" It just came very abruptly. So I asked her, "Can you clarify a little bit more? What are you expecting out of me when you say socio-economic?" So he told me, "How do you measure the economy of a country and everything?" So I told her that there are quantifiable measures like GDP, inflation rate, per capita incomes. So then she told me that, "Oh, how do you think inflation affects different groups of people and people in different classes. So I told her that inflation essentially just means that the price of goods will increase over time. So if your wages and your income are not keeping up with those inflation rates, then there are things you are able to afford right now, which you won't be able to afford in the future. So I would say that mostly people who are in the lower strata of income, they are mostly affected by the inflation increase, not the people who are very high up. So then she asked me, are you being affected by the inflation rate? I told her that I would say no. I don't think there are any goods which I can purchase now, which I couldn't purchase earlier, and say I'm fairly compensated for my profile and my roles. Then she asked me, have your wages increased? So that was sort of a personal attack. I felt I told her that no, I didn't get an increment last year. So I'm pretty personally upset about it, but I won't say that it's causing much of a issue with my affordability of goods. Then I also casually mentioned that, and for the socializing aspect, I do feel that Bangalore is a great city to be in to socialize with people. Then they just both started laughing at me. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. It seems like a conversational vibe as well. Then she asked me, can you name five random FMCG companies? So I mentioned Hindustan Unilever and ITC. After that, I took like a 5 second break. Then I said PepsiCo. And then I casually mentioned if I said PepsiCo, I should also say Coca-Cola. Then they started laughing. Then that was about it from the female prof. And then the male professor took over. So he started questioning, why are you not saying which hotel are you sitting in right now? I told him that if ITC, welcome hotel by ITC. Then he said, why are you not mentioning ITC as a FMCG company? I said, I mentioned it. So they're like, oh, okay, I might not have heard it. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Then he randomly asked me about Basel 3 norms. So the whole thing was that Basel 3 norms is not something I work with. And there's almost a zero mention of having a finance internship in my profile anywhere. And that is just because I do not want those finance questions on me. So he still asked me Basel 3 norms, and but I knew it. I did study for it. So I answered that these norms were basically introduced to measure the capital and liquidity risks in the banks. So Basel 3, I specifically talked about the Basel 3 norms which were introduced after the 2008 crisis, and I mentioned a few key terms like Tier 1 and Tier 2 capital. Then he just questioned me, what is a Tier 1 capital? I told him what is a Tier 1 capital. Then he asked me what is a Tier 2 capital. I told him that I do not exactly know what a Tier 2 capital is, but I would say that if it's not Tier 1 and it's a little bit more risky, I would say it's a Tier 2 capital. Then he again started laughing that, okay, the answer is correct, but maybe not the exact definition, but it does make sense. Then I also told him that I do not actually work with Basel 3 norms, but the only reason I know about these is because I did an internship with Deutsche for the counterparty. Then he was like, okay, so what do you actually work on? Then I told him that I work as a backend developer for letter of credits and bank guarantees. So those are some documentary trade finance products. Then he asked me, can you give me some special clauses in letter of credit and bank guarantees? And a special clause in LC and bank guarantees is a word I've never even heard. So I just asked him, what can you clarify? What are you exactly looking for? I can tell you what we actually put in an LC from a user perspective or from a developer perspective as well. So he's like, yeah, just tell me that. So I started telling him how the LC flows work. Then he told me, oh, I already know this. I'm like, well, then exactly what do you want me to tell you? Then he told me that let's assume that I am an importer and I want to get something from Germany. Then INR will be converted to euros. Euro will be converted to some other currencies and everything. So what I'll be facing a lot of losses. So I'm asked. So I asked him, are you talking about the forex services like FX exchange rates services? Of course, being a bank, we do provide it, and I know that my team is also the one currently is working on this FX part integration into our letter of credits and bank guarantees. So I told him that I know that we are working on it. It's not implemented yet in our team. I'm particularly working on some different product. I did try to mention, I tried to pivot it from there, but he didn't listen to me that time. So he told me, can you tell me the bank which has the most forex currencies in their I told him I do not know. Then I again mentioned that okay, that I work with bank guarantees. I tried to explain what I am currently working on, and I explained it for like a minute or so. Then he told me, okay, thank you, you may leave. So that was just about it, and all this happened in probably 6 7 minutes. So yeah, that's about it.
So what do you think like they are actually testing or actually evaluating in a candidate?
I don't really think they were trying to evaluate, and I would say that first and foremost, they knew that my profile is probably having all the calls. And given that the pedigree and everything is there, I don't think they tried to grill me as much as other candidates as well. They were just trying to see if I can manage my demeanor and have a conversation with them. So I would say it was just about that. The more interesting part of the whole process was probably the VAT topic, and the VAT topic was that the mom influencers, which we currently see on Instagram and everything, are they crystallizing the traditional gender norms? So I would say that was a much more interesting part of the whole process as compared to the interview for me.
So any one word for IMKPI?
One word for IMKPI. Would be just be it's interesting because I know like five people who stood there, went into different rooms, came out at the same time, and everyone had a different sort of interview. So it's I would say every one word for any IM interview would just be unpredictable. You just cannot predict it. Like people who just went before me, they were grilled. People who went after me, they were grilled. I was not grilled for some reason. So yeah, that's just about it.
So, and any tip for IMK aspirants who are going to give for going further at PI?
I would say that I think they can definitely recognize if you are stressed. And if you just look calm and stay calm and talk decently, they will also switch to a mode which is much less defensive and much less aggressive. They'll also try to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, Yatharth, for sharing your experience. And to everyone who are preparing, stay calm, clear, and confident. All the best.